Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Zamora 2-Player Podcast. I am your player 1, Garrett Zamora, and for my player 2, I'm joined once again by Matt. Matt, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say it's been a little bit. I've been watching some of your side quest episodes, so I was like, I don't feel like it's been that long ago, but we've also had a few Tekken rounds as well, which were not recorded. But yeah.
And both of us have just been like super busy with work, and then I got super sick again for about a week and a half. But then looking at the calendar, we're like, God damn, we only have like 2 weeks before Rebirth, so we need to get a Tekken episode and an F7 episode.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 episodes coming out kind of close together, this one and the next one most likely. But yeah, we had to deal with some life stuff for a couple weeks. So yeah, been a minute. But we are all ready to talk about some Tekken. But first, so I guess I'll give you my small update, and we'll dive into these games, some of these games later, but just my kind of playthrough updates.
Yeah, what have you been playing?
So I got through all of those Mega Man Zero Game Boy Advance games. I did the first one of the collection that is like from the DS games. I think it was like Mega Man Zero Advent or something. That one was really fun. Apparently the one after that is not good. So I played it for a few minutes and it's like, instead of getting boss's powers, you just turn into the boss. And I was like, that's kind of dumb. I want to be Zero. Anyway, so, and my friend that played them said like, yeah, that one's not very good. So like, okay, I'm not going to bother with that one. So I got through that. And then there's a game I had started last year called Wo Long. I know you played Neo, and did you play Stranger of Paradise? I don't remember if you did actually play that.
I played the demo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same team that does those games. They did one that's more like ancient China martial arts and weapons and things like that. And I bought that last year at some point, and I never finished it. So I went back and I actually finished that game, and that was really good. And then Grand Blue Fantasy Relink came out, and I've been playing that. I've pretty much finished what I want to do with it. There is sort of a New Game Plus mode. It's kind of like the Final Fantasy mode in 16, where you carry everything over, but everything's harder. So I might go through the story, because the story's not super long in that game, so I might kind of go through that a little bit for the next 2 weeks, and get through that. But I rolled credits on that game. It's like it was co-developed, at least in the beginning, by Platinum Games, and co-composed with Nobu Uematsu.
Oh, okay.
It's like, it was a good time. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
My buddy Robbie plays it, and I saw that he's like, there's a demo, so like, okay, I'll download the demo and kind of see how it goes. But anyway,
so have you tried it?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to hear your reaction to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I finished that. I think I was like, oh, I did. Well, we'll talk about this a little bit, but I did finish my master mode playthrough of Breath of the Wild as you were playing through your playthrough of it. So I did finish that. I was playing a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom again, like started a new game, but I won't finish that before FF7 comes out. I think that's it. And then Tekken we'll talk about. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've got through. I did play some more Mega Man X8. I beat the first boss. I couldn't even get to the next. So when I revisit it, I'm just turning the rookie mode on, because I just suck at that game. Like I don't know what it is. I'm just bad at it. I cannot do it.
I remember like it had to click for me. Like I remember the first boss, and then after, like, I play it like this, and it's like,
sure,
like it just kind of, I don't know, there's just a switch that gets flipped in your brain kind of thing. But anyway, I see that.
I'll revisit it at some point, and I'll just do it with easy, so I can see the whole, the rest of the game. But yeah, I'm just bad at it, I guess.
It's
just not my strength.
And
But yeah,
is the first boss the Pandemonium one
that's
or
based
whatever?
on like the guide I had said like
Yeah,
suggested him first or whatever. So
yeah. Um,
yeah, so I beat him, but then I couldn't even get to the other boss. So anyway,
yeah, that's
so,
fine.
so that's
Um,
and like I said, we'll dive into. I'd like to dive into Wolong and Grand Blue at some point, because those were really fun games. So we'll talk about those more thoroughly, sometime later this year, but not for a while because FF7 will be coming out. But yeah, that's kind of on my list of games that I've completed so far this year.
cool.
Persona 3 got like a full ground up remake that came out right like a day after Grand Blue, and I was like, okay, I'm not playing both of these. So I picked Grand Blue because I knew it's a shorter game, and because Persona will be like 80 plus hours, and I was like, I don't want to rush through that to try and finish it before FF7 comes out. I really want to
Yeah,
enjoy it, so that'll be sometime in the summer. I'll pick that one up and start because I really want to play that one because I loved Persona 5 so much. So I will get to it for sure. And then I did stupidly. I was watching some reviews and stuff of this game called Helldivers 2 that just came out, and it's a less. It's like a half price game. Like it's not a full price game, and I did buy that yesterday.
mhm.
And so that'll be. It's. Did you ever watch Starship Troopers? Did,
Yep.
it's basically exactly that movie.
Okay.
But it's like a co-op sort of. You just like queue up. You played some Avengers, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's kind of like we're in that. Just in terms of like you go to your base, you pick a
Yeah.
mission, and you go do that mission. But the missions are just way more fun, and it's co-op, so you can just join up with random people, and yeah, it's just these arachnid kind of alien things, and
Yeah.
it's like super like tongue-in-cheek, like super pro military, like to a point that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like insane, you know what I mean? Like this, it's literally Starship Troopers in terms of
Yeah.
the vibe of it. So I did pick that up, and I don't think that's a game I'll like see through to credit. It's just like, like I did one earlier today after I got home from work, and it was like just queued up a mission, waited 30 seconds for people to join, and it was like a 40-minute because you go in and you have an objective, but on the map there's like, oh, destroy this bug nest and
Ah. Yeah.
investigate this outpost, and then you can do that side stuff because you have like 40 minutes to do the mission. And then once you do the main objectives, then you can call for an extraction, and then you just got to like hold for 2 minutes, and then they start attacking you when you're waiting for your
Mm.
dropship. And anyway, it's super fun, super silly. That'll be just a good one that I can like throw on and just play for 40 minutes, do a mission, and then turn it off, kind of thing. So,
Cool.
so yeah, so about that, we'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, the main thing I was gonna check. I forgot to check before we
Don't.
started.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. The number of hours I've put into this game is absurd. Because
the
it's
la-
amazing.
the last I so for Breath of the Wild, the last I looked at it, it was like 140 hours. But that was
Sounds about
like
right.
a week ago or something. So I'm sure it's gone up a little bit since then. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I knew when I first played it at your place over Christmas that I
yeah,
was like, God damn it, I love this game and I know what it's going to do to me. But it's like I haven't had this much like I don't want to say like this much fun or this much like I've never had this much joy playing a game before. It's just
yeah, it's
so
insane.
fun. And like the main game, it took me time and but it's just like it's mostly just been Korok hunting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like it's
So to let everyone know, so you beat the main story and everything, and
yeah,
I think you said you got all the shrines at this point too.
correct.
You've
Yeah.
done all those, and so
Yeah.
now it's just so you brought up, I think you said you brought up that like interactive map that I used,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just start scouring the map for the Koroks,
chipping
basically.
away at it.
Do you know
Yeah.
how many you're up to now? It says on like your loading screen how many.
Oh yeah. So like the map, I can see individual dots now, even when you're zoomed all the way out. I'm above 800.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
Um, so like I've essentially I feel like tried to find all of them, and
Yep.
some have been like, I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna label it as just something different, and
Sure.
I'll come back to it. So I've been to every one,
Sure.
um, and I just need to figure out, like literally as of like last night, it was like, okay, now I just need to go through my second pass and the ones that were not, because I was like, I'm gonna go through them all, and if it's not obvious to me in like 2 minutes, it's just like, get out
Sure.
of here, move on, go to the next
Sure.
one. If it's like I can't find the flowers that you're supposed to chase, or oh, there's probably one of those um trunks that you jump on to activate
Yeah.
the circle you got to race to, and it's like I don't know where it is. Ah, screw it. I'll figure this out later.
So one thing with that interactive map is it definitely shows you where the Korok appears.
Yeah,
So if it is one of those where you have to jump on a thing and get to, it'll show you
yeah.
where you have to end up, not where
End
you have to
up.
start.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So and so it's like, okay, there's clearly nothing right here. So is there like a cliff nearby?
Sure.
Like, and it has like a little
Like an arrow
twig,
or a.
or like there's like a, if it is one of those trunks that you hop on that creates the
Oh,
timed thing,
yeah.
the trunks have like a little twig on them that you can kind of see from
Sure.
afar, and it's like, oh, I think that's one, and I just didn't look hard enough last time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm finding a couple of those, and I kind of left a Hyrule Castle because it's hard, the map.
Yes, that I
uh
remember. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, that one sucks.
uh
Now,
so
what you like? You can get out of the dungeon and then look at the map and kind of like pin
yeah,
them, but then you
when you're
can't
in, you
see
can't
them
see the
you when
pins.
in there. I think if you put pins and then you look through your cam, like your,
Oh, true.
then you can kind of see the area. But yeah, I remember that part sucked.
So
To try
and
to
it
find them
wasn't
all.
too bad because it was like, okay, if I really kind of squint, I can see features of the 3D map
Hmm.
that I can associate with the topography map, and it wasn't too bad. I was like, oh, okay, I there's a turret here. I gotta go to that turret. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I got that. This is dead center on the gate. I bet you it's just the top of the
Yeah,
flagpole
you
of
kind of know what to look for by that point, like
yeah.
what, how to, yeah, how they hide them and stuff.
So I think so. I did that today. Work kind of. I think people are leaning into the weekend a little bit. So
Sure.
we're 3 day weekend.
Yeah.
So I think things were pretty quiet. So like, I'm gonna hang up my hang up my computer here for the day and just go. I want to tackle Hyrule Castle for
Oh, so
that
you
and
just did that today?
today, yeah. And so
Okay.
I got them all except maybe two. Two I couldn't find.
Okay.
And then so now it's like, okay, I'm essentially I probably have like 80 to go in the whole map, but now I'm like I'm looking up what do I do?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got enough with trying. It's like the rest I'm just gonna look up. So
So there's um the map that I use. If you actually click on the Korok seed like icon, it
yeah.
will actually open a little thing and like tells you like what you have to do to get that one.
I
Uh,
find it does, but not for all of them.
oh, okay.
And so if I've been struggling and it had that, I'd like, oh, okay, I'll
Sure.
look this up. But for all these ones don't have any
It is dependent on someone writing it,
uh,
like adding that
yeah.
note. So some of them might just not have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean I just look up like the Korok in whatever six spring
Right.
and it's like, okay, there's a couple of options. That's the one that looks like the one in my
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's like, oh yeah, you got to chase this flower and it starts north of the lake. And like, oh shit, okay, I guess I'm going way the hell over there to
Yeah.
find it. Um, but like I was kind of telling you before, like I just it's like my happy place. Like it's like
Yeah,
every day after work, like after dinner, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna play this for a couple of hours and just
man. When
hunt,
when I was
hunt.
going through it, I think the first time, by the time I was doing that stuff, like I would just put something on Netflix on like my monitor and
Yeah,
just like lay on the couch and just like, look at my map, pin the next five, go do those
yeah,
five, map again, pin five more, go do more. And it's just like I would just do them. It's like, I can do another set and like do five more, do five
yeah.
more, and it was just like hours would go by.
I
And
just
yeah.
I love it so much. And essentially because like to me they're like little puzzles, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
and like I love doing escape rooms, and so to me it just
True,
feels
yeah.
like these are just little escape
Like
room
micro
puzzles.
puzzles.
And like I do a lot of geocaching too. And
Okay.
so it's just a similar kind of vibe.
Yep.
And it's funny because with geocaching, it's kind of like after you do a bunch, it's kind of like your what does Bill call it? Your geo sets. You kind of like, oh
Sure.
yeah, it's probably on a lamppost, or like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as you're walking up to it, it's like, I know what this is gonna be. And so in this, it's like, oh yeah, okay. There's a big tall mountain there. It's probably a rock at the top. Oh no, there's a bombable wall. It's probably behind that.
Yeah.
You know. So I've been getting good at recognizing from afar.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know what this is. Yeah,
The one that like I had to read to know like what it wants me to do to understand, like to have that sense for subsequent ones,
yeah,
was when it's like three trees
yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
you got to make them have the same, like, like
Nope.
the one.
Orientation of fruit, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
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 That one definitely I would never have like figured that one out just casually, like without something telling me that's what that is, cuz it doesn't even
Uh,
look that suspicious, like it's just a couple trees or whatever, but
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
did
one that
have to
was
look
weird.
I did have to look that up, and I remember being like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, there was one that I was really proud to just figure out. I think it was like it's like, what am I supposed to, yeah, what am I supposed to do here? And it's like there are a bunch of arrows in that sign. Clunk, like ding, is like, oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's it. And uh I did this one last night that took, this was the hardest one, was in that like beach village down like southeast.
Mhm.
You don't spend much time there, not like
Nope, I know,
Kakariko
I
or
remember
whatever.
which
Yeah.
one. Yeah. It's
But
like a
you
little
have to,
port town.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an arrangement of rocks on the roof, and you need to get a rock up there, and it's just like it has to be really precise
Yeah.
stasis.
Yes. Yeah,
And
I remember that exact one. Yeah.
I remember for like a half an hour. I was like, God damn it! It's got kind of this almost like saddle shape to it,
Yeah.
and so like, okay, 7 hits with a spear from this spot will hopefully be okay. And it would like boing, boing, and it's like gah. Anyway, when I finally got it, I was like, Jesus Christ! I was like,
Yeah.
okay, really made me work for this one.
I
Uh,
definitely remember that one and not being one of those ones. Even like when because like I'm a psychopath and I've done it twice on the
yeah,
Wii U
that's
version
insane.
and the Switch version. But
Yeah,
I remember like both times that was hard. Like it's not like, oh, you just do this. It's
yeah,
like you got
yeah.
to remember exactly where to put it and then how many times to hit it, normal attacks or charge attacks. What weapon are you hitting it? Like it's such trial and error.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely remember that one. Yeah, very specifically.
And like now going through it, I could see how it's just like um when I did a bunch and then went to just like um grind Hyrule Castle for some ancient gear and
Sure.
things like that. I already kind of had the geosense kind of locked in, and I just said,
Sure.
I'm gonna climb to the fucking top of this whole goddamn castle. That's what I want to do. Like it's almost like I
Yeah.
now just want to do things and say, oh, there's a Korok up here. Of course, it's like, oh, I just like getting to the very top of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Um,
been just so much fun.
and then so the only thing I feel like I had told you was just in terms of like how to play the game or whatever is like I told you to get all the memories before you go beat the game,
Yeah, yeah,
because you do get that extra one. Um, when you do all the other memories, then you get the one last one where you go. I think it's like in that field with all the destroyed guardians and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and man, that last cutscene you get with Zelda, like breaking down,
yeah.
and just like I think that's the last one, right? When oh no, that might
Uh,
be another one. I
I,
that
that's
one's
a
when you're
memory,
like
maybe. Yeah,
that's when like Link is injured and they
yeah.
go take him. That's the last one. It's a different one. It's not the last one, but it's the one where she like breaks down and like feels like she's a failure and
Oh
but
man.
the Jap like the because I played it with Japanese voices and like the voice actor for her is just like in so much pain in that cutscene. Like God, that one like really hits me every time.
Yeah.
Just feel so bad for her.
Yeah,
Man,
I'm so glad you told me to turn the Japanese voice on because the voice acting with the Japanese actors are so good.
yeah,
And
it's
especially
definitely.
Zelda.
I
Um,
definitely feel like they did. The Japanese cast just suits the characters a lot better. I find.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, like I didn't, it's almost like I know that this game's what 2017 or whatever, and I still had like no clue. It's a
Yeah,
new game to me. Nothing had been spoiled for me at all. But like I didn't quite realize the story was going to be like that kind of thing. Like
sure.
it's like I anticipated Ganon's bad, gotta go fight Ganon.
Yeah, as you
Yeah,
as you would.
yeah, and just like okay, bing bang boom, get a couple of yeah, save a few villages, whatever on the
Yeah,
way, and here you go. Like no, wait, holy shit! Like there are layers to Zelda's um like mental health here, right? Like
yeah,
it just like holy jeez, like she was so uh tortured and vulnerable and
yeah.
like
It
anyway,
just like
man.
felt like she knew what she was supposed to do, but she like couldn't do it,
Yeah.
and she thought she was like a failure, like the goddess or whatever, like rejected her. Like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. Like, it is harder to appreciate the story when you spend 17 hours going exploring this map and like, oh yeah, what's this cut like what's the next cutscene and they're out of order. So
Yeah.
it is definitely it resonates better on a subsequent playthrough because then you
Yeah.
kind of like you don't spend as much time doing that other stuff
Yeah.
and you can even go and like rewatch the memories in order.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but it's I also did not know how well the storytelling was going to be because it was so open.
Yeah.
And I will say that I do think that Tears of the Kingdom does it even a little better. I feel like
Oh, nice.
it felt more cohesive, the story, in Tears of the Kingdom. So I feel like that was one thing they definitely improved on in the sequel. So yeah, whenever you get around to that, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make when you're starting to get the itch to play it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make you watch the trailer because they did the same thing where they showed the last trailer for that game was like who it's like I swear it's the same person who made both trailers because
Yeah.
it's exactly the same sort of feeling and like the music it just hits exactly the way it should and yeah
Oh man.
the trailer
I
for Tears of the Kingdom that final trailer was like so fucking good.
the trailer for Breath of the Wild, I'll watch that once in a while. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Jesus, they know how to make a good fucking trailer.
There's a
Um,
lot of good like people like reaction videos to that trailer.
oh, nice.
That's what I'll go back and like rewatch sometimes. Just watch people's freaking out about it, how good it is.
And
Yeah,
like, oh man, I was just like so invested in every Divine Beast arc, you know,
Yep.
like just like it's like, oh, okay, let's go see what the Zoras are all about. And then by the time I'm there, I'm just like, God damn, if I don't save Mifa, whatever, like Jesus Christ. And then like same thing with all like with Urbosa and the Gerudo people and everything. Like
Yep.
even the Gorons, I'm just like, oh man, like I gotta help these people out here. But anyways, it's just I love every minute of it and still am, and I'll just
Yeah.
boot it up, hack away at flying around and
That's
anyway.
it's
Uh,
so satisfying, the gameplay loop of just like, ooh, let me like this, I want to climb this high thing. And like, oh
yeah,
my god, look at all these things. Glide, 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 glide. Ooh, let me climb that thing. Ooh, look at everything over here. Glide,
yeah,
glide, glide. Like, it's
yeah.
just like the best open world like gameplay loop I've ever played for
Uh,
sure.
and I just like as I do a bunch of that, getting kind of tired, go to bed, like super happy. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's literally my happy place. And like oh man, it's just so wonderful. The
Yeah.
music is so good. Uh and it's funny too. I keep like saying this joke to myself all the time where I'm just like, what is the best armor, best suit combination, and why is it the climbing gear? Because it's perfect.
Yeah.
This is like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, now I can do what I actually want to do.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, I'm fighting someone. Maybe I should change and do
Yeah,
something
that's
different.
exactly what I would do. Is I would just have the climbing gear on all the time, and then if I'm fighting something that's not like like a weak and like a lower rank thing, it's like okay,
Yeah.
1 second, pause.
Yeah.
Put this on here. Okay, now I can fight.
Yeah. Oh,
um,
I'm fighting one of those like um centaur guys. Okay, I guess I'll throw on my like attack up armor here or
yeah,
whatever. Like I guess I'll try.
yeah, yeah.
But oh man, just with like 3 wheels of stamina and throwing that
So
on.
great.
I've gotten really good at like, oh, this is kind of angled, so I'm gonna stop and
Yep.
walk a little bit.
And I
Like,
feel like I feel like I had tried to like it's one of
coach
those
me
things
on
like when
that.
it's like when I was watching you play, I was like this will make more sense when you've been doing it for 20 hours. Like you can see the little
Mm,
angles that are safe to stand on, even for like a
mm.
couple seconds. If you start sliding, it's
And walk
usually enough.
sideways a little bit.
Yeah, it's just enough to
Yeah,
get a little more stamina. Okay, you can climb a little more again.
yeah.
So,
No, I've gotten like pro at
yeah,
that. Uh, yeah.
and
No,
like
oh, I just
judging how much you can get with your stamina, like if you're gonna have enough to get up there and when to do
yeah.
that last jump or whatever. And
Oh yeah, which is
uh,
super satisfying.
yeah,
Uh, but I really like um the Koroks that you need to dive through like a circle of flowers, whatever.
Mhm.
Like that's also very satisfying.
Yeah.
I kind of laughed at the animation throughout my casual playthrough. I'm just like, okay, Link, stop like showing off. Like I just get in the water. And but now I'm just like, oh sweet, perfect swan dive. And I'm like, God damn, that's awesome. Anyway. Um
um,
I
there's
also
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I also like in the mornings getting ready for work. Like I said, I've been watching the your interview with Marco Meatball, but after I finished that, I watched it's from a couple of years ago, the speed run
Yeah.
of this, and I was just like, oh, they're just making a mockery of this. It's so insane. All the like bouncing off things and
So
riding a rock of through the
yeah,
air.
so
Yeah.
there's this like I forget what it's called, but it's some weird thing where you bounce off an enemy out of like a shield surf animation. That
Hmm.
that totally broke everything. Before that was being used, it was a lot of stasis shit. And
Yeah.
I think someone, so it came out in March, and then someone ran it by that SGDQ like a couple months later. And
Okay.
one of the things they did was like you had to like chop a tree down, and like when as soon as you get the last hit and the tree starts to go, you have to
Yeah.
switch stasis and hit it at it like in when it's like at an angle. Hit it
Yeah.
on times, jump on it because it's still vertical enough for you to climb, and then just
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just goes like crazy. And then do that like 3 times, and they're at Hyrule Castle.
Oh man.
Yeah, it
And,
was so good.
and like just like the game trying to load fast enough. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Yeah, I'm so happy. I was telling my friend at work that he's like, I was telling you, he's like the one I talk to about Zelda all the time, and we always talk about Breath of the Wild. So I just been sort of updating him of your playtime when I would look, and he's just like, man, it's so beautiful.
yeah.
It's like it's a beautiful thing to see, and I was like, yeah, you love to see it
Yeah.
when you get someone hooked on that game specifically because I remember what it was like when I played it the first time. It was just like
Yeah.
it was just like I'm going to look at every. I think I told you where I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn because it came out like 3 days or 4 days before Breath of the Wild came out. I was
Yeah.
like, God, I was like, I'm gonna try to finish it before then, but I was working. I didn't have that week off or anything, so I didn't get to the end. And then I did, 150 hours or plus of Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
100%, and then went back to Horizon, and I'm just like, just let me fucking climb it. It's like 10 feet. Let me climb that shit. It was like it just changed, and a lot more games started doing a version of climbing anything to an extent.
Yeah.
Even like Forbidden West, like you could climb a lot more things, like not
Yeah.
everything, but a
Yeah.
lot more things. And like the Assassin's Creed games just did it. They could climb everything. There's a lot of games that were just like, yeah, we're just gonna do this too now.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely
And
changed.
Nintendo's always been like that, right? Like it's just they keep reinventing the game,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively.
Sometimes they just
Um,
they stumble onto something that they just see the code, like the
yeah.
Matrix code,
Yep.
and
Yep.
like, no, this is how this needs to be, and everyone's like, what? Imagine telling that to a developer. It's like, yeah, in this game, he can climb literally 99% of surfaces. Like, there's some in shrines you can't. It's like, no, he can
Yeah.
climb everything. Yeah, but like not straight
Not
up a mountain though. Nope. Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Make it work. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's like
Um,
they knew that's what it had to be, right?
it's it's uncompromising game design, right? Like
Yeah.
just like no exceptions. Yeah, of like I want this, don't cut corners.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's like, at least because like there are some like performance issues with the game because it is a massive game and there's some frame rate drops and things like that. But it's like, as far as the gameplay is concerned, it's like, and this is what a lot of Nintendo games are. It's like gameplay first. That's why Mario games feel so fucking good to play, because
Yeah.
that's what they make sure is 100% dialed in, exactly how they think it needs, what they want it
Yeah.
to be. And then, okay, now do the rest of the game. I'm sure it's not that they're working on stuff otherwise, but it's like the focus, like once the gameplay is
Tight. Yeah.
tight and figured out, okay, now everything else will just work because
Yeah.
that thing you're doing when you're controlling your character is going to feel so good. It's just like, yeah, the rest of the game it's just like, so it's like, and I was gonna say it like solves itself, but there's still a fuckload of work that goes into that. But I'm sure it coalesces a lot easier when that gameplay loop is so dialed in.
Yeah.
And they know what the game is now. Okay, let's design the world around. He has to be able to do these things, so let's just make sure the world allows him to do those things, and then
Yeah.
they start finding fun ways to implement that kind of stuff. So,
And like the thing that's kind of fascinating to me about the game is it's like and I don't know much about game dev or anything like that, but it's just there are a few kind of laws of physics that kind of govern the game, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, I wonder if this will happen because in the real world, but they haven't thought of that. And it's like, oh nope. Like I remember I kept trying. I thought it was a bug or a glitch or something like that, where I was in the Death Mountain area and didn't realize that I had bomb arrows equipped. And
And you open, yeah,
I
they
tried to
blow
shoot
up.
and it just blow up. And it's like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
seriously? Like, who's shooting me with bomb arrows? Or like, why are my arrows blowing up?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, it's a bomb arrow. It's my stick, like, am I letting go of R2
Right.
too soon or some stupid thing? It's like, no, goddamn, why are my bombs blowing up? Oh, because they're catching on fire and blowing
Yeah.
up immediately. I was like, okay, yeah, no, hey, game recognized game. I'm the idiot here. There's so many things like that. Like,
Well,
oh
and the
yeah, I
same thing would
guess
happen if you try to pull out a fire arrow when it's raining. It'll just be a normal
oh,
arrow. Like it will
yeah.
put the fire out.
Yeah, or I've been trying to like I do this all the time. Um, here's something I've probably done not an embarrassing like 20 times, but let's say 10 times. I'm just like, fuck this rain. I can't climb shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna light a fire and sleep till tomorrow because it's gonna be sunny. Wood, flint, oh,
Nothing.
I'm wrong angle. Like, come on. Am I not using a metal sword? God damn. Oh, it's because it's raining.
Yeah.
So, like, find a building.
Just even like a cliff that you can get
Yeah.
under. Yeah, 100% had to do that so many times.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, God damn it. Wasted flint on this bullshit. It's like, because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I've done that a million times. Oh, what are some other examples of anyway, it's just really impressive that
Yeah,
it's kind of
they figured out the rules of the world, and then
yeah,
everything just fits in those rules.
yeah. And
It's really impressive
yeah.
how well it all works together and how in depth they thought of a lot of things.
And I feel like this based on nothing. It's not a case of oh, I'm gonna see if the game devs thought of this. Like, oh, did they think like, oh, they're really clever. They thought to make sure to code that if you try to use a bomb arrow in Death Mountain, it will blow up in your face. It's like I feel like it's more like no, they established a rule like physical laws of nature into the game and the game just kind of follows those rules or something. Like it's just pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah, yeah.
There's this video series that like GameSpot does where it's like 20 things you didn't know about Breath of the Wild or something like that, and they
Yeah.
did those videos. Like there's probably 50 of those,
Oh wow.
or probably more, that they did, and they were doing them right up until Tears of the Kingdom came out. They would still
Wow.
come out every couple of weeks, or I forget the cadence of them, but there was probably like 700 of these individual things that you did,
Holy
and
cow.
it's a lot of really. I think I might have been telling you once when you were here playing that like the Lizalfos, they don't close one eye when they're aiming a bow
Oh,
because like I forget the terminology for it, but it's like the way a lizard's eye works, they're sort of independent or something, and they don't
yeah,
need to
yeah.
close one to get better perspective on the other. So when it's holding up a bow, it's just looking with that eye, and the other one's still open.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
other
yeah.
monsters will, close one eye, and it's like that level of super small detail. That just now that is a much more specific like, oh, this enemy doesn't do this when they're doing this,
Yeah,
but there's a
yeah, yeah.
lot of just like what you said. It's like no, it's just the rules. If you lay out all the rules of the game, then this should do this, and it does. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, there's
yeah,
a lot of those types of just little nuanced rules to the game that
yeah.
it's insane that they've
Oh,
yeah,
it's it,
it's
it's
crazy
just
that they
it's so much
did
fun.
this.
I loved hunting for shrines. I love kind of hunting for the Korok seeds. I still haven't done all the side quests yet, so
Oh,
I'll kind of
nice.
I'll do that too. And but no, it's just like an old friend booting that up, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just gonna hang out and do a little bit more. Like
Yep.
so I'm at like 95 point something percent
Hmm.
now. So anyways, I'll do the Koroks and then the side quest. And then I don't know. I remember you showed me, I don't know how to do it. Like it was like a tracker of where
Yep.
you've been.
Yeah, it's on your map. It's called Heroes Path. I think it's X, but it's on the if you look at the bottom of the screen when your map is open, it's
Yeah.
called like Heroes Path, whatever
Oh,
button
okay.
is assigned to. Uh
I feel like mine
oh,
isn't showing up. But do I need the
that
DLC?
might be part of the DLC.
Okay.
I think it is.
Um,
Because it was added later. I just thought it was an update, but it was probably in the DLC.
I mean, we'll see what percent I'm at,
Yeah.
and if I need it, and I'll do some DLC, like because it's kind of funny. Just as a little side note, um, I I didn't think I'd be this far. I mean, I didn't think I'd be this far. I play it religiously nonstop for the past like several weeks.
It's been like,
Uh,
haven't you had it for like a little over a month?
like
I
I
feel
got it
shortly after
in
you got back home
yeah,
from
yeah.
Christmas.
But I've got a conference to go to in a week or whatever, and so I was like, oh, I'll bring this along. I'll have to hack away at some Breath of the Wild. It's like I don't know
I'm gonna be
if,
done.
yeah, well, and even like if I'm not done, it's like I don't think I bring my Switch with me to do meticulous like the final Korok, like
Yeah,
the hard ones, whatever. Um, but anyway, maybe some DLC like
sure.
will be something to do
Yep.
on the plane and whatnot. So um
There is a really fun mode that's in the DLC. That's called what's it called? The Hero Trial or something? Trial of the
okay.
Sword. You remember that like island you went to where you like basically
Lose
start with
everything.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like that, but it's like I want to say it's like 100 floors.
Oh, cool.
And I think you can like sort of save at every like 10th one, and then if you die, you have to just go back to the previous like checkpoint.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and when you complete it, you know how your master sword it like powers up near
Yeah.
like ancient tech or Ganon,
Yeah.
whatever. It'll just always be at full power if you do
Oh,
that
nice.
thing. It's like you don't need it anymore. That you've done
No.
literally everything in the game, but it's just
Yeah.
cool that you have a full powered master sword.
Yeah.
Um,
The
so yeah, but
the
then there's like another like little side story with like four more. They're not like they're sort of like if I remember, they're kind of like bigger than a normal shrine, but not as big as a divine beast. And
okay.
there's like four of those that you can do. I think they're like just bigger shrines, if I'm not mistaken. But so that and then
Cool.
yeah, that's what the
Well,
DLC gives you.
sounds fun enough. So do kill some hours on a plane. So
Yeah.
um the one kind of thing as well that I'll say like total like boner move is I at one point I feel like anyway I was hunting for Korok seeds or I was just Hyrule or something like that and I must have got hit by like an electric bat at some point, and I was just like, "Where's my Hyrule shield?" Like my
Oh no.
and I was like, "Oh no, I must have like got hit and just like left it on the ground." I think I read like, how do I get it
Yeah,
back?
I don't even know. I don't think I've ever had it break.
And no, because I don't think it does break.
I think it does. It just takes fucking forever. Like it
Oh,
has
okay.
so much durability.
Because
Um,
I found it just very like because I did a deep dive of like in Hyrule
yeah.
Castle instead of outside, and I just kind of found I was like, oh shit, like this is a nice treasure chest. But I read you might get it in a side quest as well, like if you do
No, I think you have to get it in the like dungeon,
yeah
like the not a Zelda dungeon, but like the castle's dungeon prison or whatever.
yeah
I
yeah
think that's where you have to get it. I don't think you can get it elsewhere.
yeah. So, anyways, if I can get it back, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure there's a way to get it back if you. There's got to be a way.
yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
You don't need it much at this point. It just looks nice.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember just like being like, oh, what an idiot.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was just pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Of all ways to lose that shield, just
Yeah,
getting
just
fucking zapped.
yeah, again, just kind of keep walking, like, because I think like later, I was like, "Where's my shield? Like, I've got no shield on." Anyway, it was these Korok hunting expeditions usually go quite late, and
Yeah,
but
kind of mindless.
yeah,
Um,
but
oh man,
anyways,
that's so cool. I'm so glad that you've gotten so much enjoyment for your, like we made that joke about like how much joy I get per dollar spent is like, the ratio is in very much your favor for
yeah,
enjoyment per dollar that you've spent on that game.
yeah.
Um, Rightfully so. I'll read this off for the listeners. So I gave Matt his definitive Switch list or Switch
Ah,
games list.
yeah,
So these are the ones that I gave Matt. That when you are itching for another Switch game, just refer to this list.
yeah, yeah.
So Breath of the Wild was on there. Xenoblade Chronicles for whenever you want a nice big chunky RPG. Bayonetta 2 because we love Platinum games. Astral Chain, which is another Platinum game, which is kind of like it's like this cyberpunk sci-fi, but you're like a detective.
Oh, cool.
And you're like controlling these. They're called like Legion. They're just these like interdimensional sort of monsters that you kind of enslave. And it's like there's some revengeance in there because when you equip the sword one, you can bring up like a line on the screen and like
Oh,
cut
nice.
things. There's a couple other ones that I just was like, oh, that's from Near. That's from that's from Revengeance, and like there's very specific, signature things that Platinum games do. Tropical Freeze is the Donkey Kong Country. So that one's made by Retro Studios, the guys who did Metroid Prime.
Oh, cool.
And they did a 2D. They did two 2D Donkey Kong games. The other one was on the Wii. Mario 3D World because it's just a fun. This is a fun Mario game. Metroid Prime Remaster. It's because it's just a very good remaster of that game. Metroid Dread, I would put probably above Metroid Prime just for you to play because you've played Metroid Prime before, or at least I think you've played it, not just watched me play it.
Oh yeah, no, I've played all of them.
Okay, that's what I thought.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Metroid Dread is just like the newest 2D
yep.
Metroid, and honestly, like I like that better than Super Metroid. I love that fucking game.
Oh, nice.
Mario Wonder, we played some of that when you were home.
Yeah,
And then Tears of the Kingdom. So
yeah.
that's the list that you can chip away for Switch games.
I'm super happy. Like, yeah, I think I mentioned it in a previous one. Like, got home from Christmas, went about a week, and then I was like, nope, I need to buy a fucking Switch and I need to buy Breath of the Wild. Like,
Yeah.
that's just going to happen. It's all I can think about. That first week back to work, it was just kind of like, nope.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but super happy with my decision
For
and
sure.
just so many hours of like, especially like, in Canada in the winter, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's Saturday and it's snowy as hell outside and I got nothing to do.
Yep.
Just gonna boot this up first thing in the morning, like get my coffee.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because my setup right now it is like kind of a whole to do. Like it's like, okay, I've got my coffee, my headphones plugged in, my iPad with the Korok map,
Sure.
and then and then it's cold in the basement, so like I got my blanket.
Yeah.
Like okay, I think I'm good. And then it's like, oh crap,
You
I
forget
forgot.
one thing.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta use the bathroom. Like, oh god damn it,
Yeah.
something like that. But no, it's a pretty nice little basement setup. Um, just nice and warm,
Yeah.
away from the snowy tundra outside.
Yeah.
So perfect kind of winter chill. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
came out in March of the like 2017. That's when the Switch came out. And I had just bought the Wii U version originally because they only announced like the official date for the Switch in like January. So I was like,
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't have time in 3 months to like save up to buy a Switch.
yeah,
Um, but it still came out day and date on both systems. And I remember that year was a very snowy March.
yeah. Okay.
So it was exactly the same thing. It was just like blizzard outside, but it doesn't matter. I'm like I've got everything I need in here. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was same kind of like cozy atmosphere. Um, cool, yeah. So super pumped that you're so you dove so deeply into that game. It's just so good, and I truly I do think like I think we talked about this maybe in our game of the year discussion where like Tears of the Kingdom it wasn't as of a much of a gut punch as Breath of the Wild was because it was familiar, but
Yeah,
there
yeah.
were still a lot of surprises that I didn't expect. So it was still excellent. It just like it wasn't as much of a game changer as Breath of the Wild was because I just redid everything I thought about open world games. There's definitely
Yeah.
some insane physics and like the rules we were talking about. There's
Yeah.
more of those and they're insane in
Nice.
Tears of the Kingdom. So it definitely still has that sort of feeling of discovery of how to use its new systems and stuff. So, um, but yeah, I still recommend taking a little time away, not just jumping right in because it would feel a little samey. Um,
Yeah.
but
And that's what I should do.
yeah,
And it's like, I mean, Rebirth coming out here soon enough, so that
yep,
but yeah, I'm certainly itching for Tears of the Kingdom, but like you said, it'd be too. I'd just jump into it, and I'd know too much of the combat. I'd be too good at it, quote
sure,
unquote. So yeah, I kind of want to take a break.
yeah.
So but
And you
anyway,
get to your first Korok in Tears of the Kingdom and be like, oh god,
yeah, yeah,
how
exactly.
many of these are there in this one?
Um,
So yeah, just give it a little break in between. Um, and I will, this would probably be much later on. Uh, I really want you to play Xenoblade at some point when you have the time to dig into a like 90-hour RPG.
yeah.
I guarantee you it will be up there as one of your favorite RPGs.
Oh man.
That game has no right being as good as it is, being that it originally came out on the Wii. I have no idea how they fit that game onto a regular DVD disc. It's
Wow.
insane. And then the definitive edition is just so many quality of life things. One thing that it does, I'll talk about this super quick, but it's like my favorite thing in that remaster of that game is at any point you can just uh like drop your level. So if you're doing side quests and you go back to main quest and you're like 10 levels higher than the boss of the enemies,
Yeah.
you can just go in, drop your level 10 levels. It will still bank your XP, and then later you can like bump up like you're not
Yeah,
losing
yeah, yeah.
XP necessarily, and then you can always
Yeah.
just at any point just go in and change your level back up. So if you do get to the end of a chapter or something and the boss is too hard and you're at the same level of it, well, you got a couple levels banked. You can just, if you
Yeah.
want, you just bump up one or two, try it
That's
again or
cool.
whatever. It's just like I love it. I love that the way they did that. And yeah, the music and story in that game are just like uh, one of the best ever. Oh, I fucking love that game. So anyway, yeah, you got your work cut out for you for Switch titles.
Yeah.
You
No,
got like
exactly.
7 years worth of games,
Perfect.
and it's all killer, no filler.
No, and it's kind of got the hardware now to do it. So
Yeah.
anyway, so no, the Breath of the Wild's just been an awesome, awesome time. Just
Mhm.
happy to chat about it a little bit here, just because
Yeah.
it's just been such an enjoyable experience, like in the most literal of ways, and just a nice tide over till Rebirth, and
Yeah, that's a
yeah, so
perfect game for you right now to keep, because
yeah,
I'm feeling it a little bit. It's like I'll play some Tekken, play some Grand Blue. I bought that Helldivers game because I'm pacing, waiting for Tekken.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like I probably wouldn't have bought this normally, but I need another game to just distract me for 2 weeks until.
eh,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's a good one for you to have to just really sink your teeth into for that kind of month leading
yeah,
up to this point. So
yeah, yeah.
okay,
But cool.
so let's go ahead and just take a super quick break, and then yeah, we'll dive into some Tekken because we've been playing a lot.
Yeah,
We've been
no,
playing a lot of Tekken.
exactly. What vocal cords, getting a good workout, screaming at the
Yeah.
TV, and yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay, let's talk Tekken. So cool. Talk to you in a
We'll
minute.
take a little break, and yeah, we'll see you guys back here in a second.
Cool. All right.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So we're gonna continue our discussion here. So yeah, we talked about Tekken a bit. I mean, leading up to Tekken 8,
Mm.
we've had many discussions about Tekken. So yeah, Tekken 8 came out. What, is it 2 weeks ago now?
Oh man.
No, more than that. 3 weeks ago. Yeah, on the 26th. Um, so yeah, we have definitely been digging our teeth into that. I told Matt I wanted him to finish the story mode before we did our episode on it because I want to talk about that a little bit. Um, but yeah, man, the so we had another one of my moments where I uh I texted Matt like Saturday night after it came out, and I was like, "Well, I did it.
Yeah.
I got the platinum." Like it came out
Oh,
on Thursday, and I had it by Saturday night.
like that's insane. That's the mo like I mean, out of the ridiculous video game achievements, I mean, to in your defense, like
It's not a hard. It's
it's
not a
not a
hard one.
hard platinum.
No.
Like no, nor does it require the amount of hours that FF16 platinum
Right.
takes or whatever. Like you essentially just need to beat the story mode, do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, Jesus H Christ, you had a platinum before I even received the game, and I
Oh, yeah.
pre-ordered it. So I mean, like it's you pre-ordered and had digital version,
Yeah.
but like it wasn't like I took my sweet time to go buy it. Like I had a physical copy as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And you had a platinum and out. So it's funny because whenever in other games, if ever I'm trophy hunting, and it always shows like the first person to get this trophy or the first like on PSN trophy profiles
Oh,
or
sure.
whatever the hell it is, and I'm just like Garrett has a legit chance of being the first person in the world to get this effing platinum trophy. I was like, that's
Yeah.
insane.
I just could
But
those first couple days I could not turn it off. I was just having, and it was like I did look at the trophy list like once the game was out. Like once I finished
yeah,
the story mode, I was like because I know that will be part of getting the trophies is like,
yeah,
beating the story. Um but I was like so it was just like you had like a couple things that were like you had to get certain like stage hazards to go off when I was
yeah,
doing like the arcade quest or whatever that thing's called.
yeah,
I would just go to those stages every time I had to fight someone so
yeah.
that it will just happen naturally when I'm fighting anyway.
Mhm.
And so it was just like knowing what I had to do, I could kind of set myself up to do those while I was doing other things or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
that's
I
why I
was
got done so fast.
I was pretty happy. Like I got a lot of trophies naturally.
Yeah,
And not saying you didn't. But like I remember like, oh man, like what was that? What was that
yeah,
trophy? And like, oh, do this, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I got a lot of trophies before I started trophy hunting.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
And so yeah, played the crap out of it those first couple days. Uh, I was talking about this with one of my friends that picked it up too, where it's like every time I would turn the because it's like she's playing it and she would say like like jump on to play and like, oh, I got to make some costumes after this, and then play a
Yeah.
bunch and be like, just play until like, okay, I'm done, and then like, oh, I forgot to make those costumes. Like, all right, next time, and then you boot it up, play it like, oh, I got to make costumes when I'm done, and then forget again and whatever. So it was like, and I was doing the opposite, where it was like, I would turn the game on, ready to play. I'm like, let me go and just like make an outfit for someone,
Yep.
and so I just
Yeah.
do it now, so I won't leave it to the end and then forget to do it. And so like every time I turned the game on, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make two more outfits for Asuka and like one more outfit for June, and discovered that 10 is the limit because I have 10 for Asuka already. You can't make more than 10.
And you and I had I told you the exact same thing where I was like, oh man, I you and I would play and I'm like, oh, I have an embarrassingly few number of costumes. I need to make more, but the problem is I play a bunch and then I'm too tired to bother with that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I should boot it up, make some costumes, then I get to play. So anyway,
so that's what
same
I
thing.
was. That's exactly what I was doing, and then once I had like a good like base of costumes, then I would like almost every time I would go to play, I would go into the jukebox and I would like let me like move some songs around and like make another make not another playlist, just refine my existing playlist. And so I tweaked that a bunch, and like I think I got it in like a pretty great spot where I'm very happy with like every track. A lot of it is just Tekken 8. There's some where I just took the climax version out because I like the bass song better.
Yeah.
And then like a couple that I wasn't super fans of, so I like brought in some like one or two tag 2 tracks, and there's one from Tekken 6. It's like called Karma.
Yeah. I love that one.
Love that
Yeah.
song. It's like one of my favorite Tekken songs ever. And then like got Jin's theme in there a bit. I think I even changed the character customization song to I think I have it as the Tekken tag one.
Oh, okay.
I really liked the tag 2.
Tag 2, yeah, I like that one a lot.
I think that's the one I have because I had so many costumes in tag 2 that I had more in that than I had in Tekken 7, and so like the song from Tag 2's customization screen is just so burned in my memory, so I just switched that.
Yeah,
so just a lot of random song switching.
I've started kind of a tabulation of because since 8 came out, all of the soundtracks are on Spotify now. And you pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, makes sense because 8 has all the soundtracks on it. So kill two birds with one stone there. But so now for several days or weeks now, it's like I just listen to that all day. And I write down tracks that I really like so that I can kind of go and customize the soundtrack to incorporate those into ones for the soundtracks that I don't like as much, kind of thing. So
and the only thing that's missing on Spotify is they don't have tag 2 soundtrack specifically. I'm sure it's just some weird musical licensing issue or something with that game, which is unfortunate because there's at least one song from tag 2. No, there's 2. There's like some schoolyard one, and I forget what the other one's even called. I won't remember it, but there's 2 that I definitely have on stages in Tekken 8 that I love those stages or those songs so much, and I can't get them on Spotify because they're not like a Tekken 6 song that was brought forward to Tekken 7. It was like a unique remix or whatever. So that's probably I think Tag 2 had a lot of remixed versions of older songs, and maybe that's why it's more of a licensing nightmare because it's like different artists are remixing it. So I'm sure. But anyway, hopefully it shows up there at some point because there is some Tag 2 tracks that I really love. So, but yeah, I would do that as part of my my warm up. It was like, all right, let's go in and play with the music a little bit and move stuff around. And so now I have it in like a very good spot where like I really like every song that plays while I'm playing. and I got a good variety of like outfits for the characters that I mostly play. So I'm like kind of just in my happy place with that game at this
Oh,
point.
it's so much fun. And like we've had it's kind of nice that there's a new Tekken game out because we'd play Tekken 7 a bunch, like me, you, and Mike, whatever, but it'd be like, I'm kind of playing Ragnarok right now, or I'm kind of whatever, but like this is the new game.
Yeah.
So there's been more like, oh man, you want to play some Tekken?
Yeah.
So we've had a few battles, more than a few actually, a couple
Yeah.
per week really since it kind of came out. So that's been nice that it's top of our menu list right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like just the obvious improvements of just like this game just it loads up so much faster, getting into matches with each other is so much faster. Like it is definitely easier to just throw it on for like an hour one night
Yeah.
and actually get a lot of games in that hour. We're
Yeah.
not spending 45 seconds between each game like waiting for stuff to load.
Yeah.
So yeah, and because it's new and fresh and we're just like in like Tekken fever right now, especially
Yeah.
because we're just biding our time until trying to make the hours go by, waiting for Rebirth. So it's like a perfect mix for. I'm so glad we got like a month of Tekken before
Yeah.
7 came
Yeah.
out. So really give it time to let us like sink our teeth into and and really really savor it a lot because there's a lot of good stuff to say about this game.
Oh yeah. And I remember you like I literally it was really weird. It came in and it was Canada Post, like it wasn't FedEx. But it came in, but like it was delivered at like 8 p.m. or something. Like, like mail gets delivered at like 11 a.m. or whatever. This is like after dinner. Ding dong. Like, what the hell? Like, oh man, sweet. Like Tekken. And I was like, okay, I got my evening plans figured out here. So like booted that up. And I was literally like, pretty much just like watching the opening movie, and I texted you like, "Hey, I finally got my copy," and you were like, "Oh, do you want to play?" And I was like, "Look, give me a minute to like learn how to play it. Like, I don't think I'm ready to have my ass handed to me by someone who's platinumed it already." So like, I need 20. Give me 24 hours, and I'll be ready to play.
It was funny too because like, so, yeah, I had bought it digitally, like you said, and it unlocked weirdly like Thursday night at like 9 or like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or something. Like it was weird. Normally it's like at midnight or 1 a.m. my time. But it was just a little earlier. And so like I was like doing stuff like that night. I was like waiting, like had a shower, and I was like getting my lunch made like ready for the next day at work. I'm just kind of doing my sort of winding down routine. And I like looked at the clock. I'm like, because I couldn't remember exactly what time I could. Like, I think I was like, is it 8 or 9? I can't remember. And I remember looking at the clock. I'm like, I wonder. Like, it's like, man, I think it unlocks soon. And you know how I don't know when's the last game you bought that's like that was just digital, but it like so when you pre-order a game digitally, it'll like show up in your game library. It'll just where the button would be to say to play, it'll just have like a countdown. Like how many days or whatever.
I don't normally do that, but for Intergrade, it was like that. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And so it just counts down, and so I like boot up. I'm like, oh, like let me just see how much time. Like, let me figure out if it's 7 or 8, based off what that thing says. And I just I booted up, and I literally went to Tekken, and it was like 10, 9. It was like down to the second. And I was like, okay. And I was like, wait. I was like 0, like 3, 2, 1, play, click. It's just like immediately in. I'm like, I did not expect that to be ready.
That's awesome.
And I honestly didn't expect it to count down to the second and be that accurate. Like, not down to 0 and then like connecting to the server.
Waiting.
It's like, no, it's like it was like 0 or like 1, 0, play. I was like, oh, okay, I will.
Here we go. Yeah, I will. Thank you very much.
I will play. Thank you.
Yeah.
And my friend and I tried playing a couple matches that night, but we kept getting disconnected. And I was like, yeah,
The
the servers
server.
were getting obliterated.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah, yeah,
we didn't market against the game in any way. We're like, ah, we'll just try this weekend, and I'm sure
yeah,
that first 24 hours will be a little hectic. And then I think me and you played later in that weekend, and I played
yeah,
with them later in that weekend, and like no real issues
yeah,
disconnecting or anything. So
yeah.
yeah, it was just like, 30 minutes after the game comes out, I'm sure the servers were a little distressed.
Literally smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
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 anyways, oh, go ahead.
it's a man, I love it so much. Like it's just it's Tekken in its best form.
Yeah,
Like
this is the
it's
best Tekken has been in a long. I think for like now, I didn't really play 4, 5, and 6. I got into 6 a little bit near the end before Tag 2 came out.
yeah,
Um, and I loved. So for me, like like Tekken highlights was like 3, Tag 2, and then like
yeah.
later in Seven's life. I
Yep.
didn't really get into Tekken 7 as much when it first came out. I don't even know why. I think I just liked Tag 2 better because it had so many more characters than vanilla, Tekken 7.
We played a lot of Tag 2.
Yeah.
Like because I feel like when I got back from Japan, you kind of introduced me to it, and then I had that all throughout, like, man, like a bunch of postdocs and stuff like that, and we would, hey, you want to boot up some Tekken 2 and
Yeah.
Tekken Tag 2, like me, you, and Mike, and
Yep.
um, and then I was like, I got 7, but we just played Tag 2 all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I think also like to play Tag 2, you didn't need a subscription to anything or whatever. Like I think you just needed an internet connection.
Yeah, that was
Um,
PS3.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
they weren't charging for PS Plus at that point.
Was 7? Yeah, I guess that was PS4. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, exactly. So
Easier
yeah,
to
we
just jump on and play if
yeah,
you don't have like a running subscription every year. Yeah.
but we played it all the time and like
So much Tag
um
2.
I had like you um locked and loaded like
Pairs of yeah.
pairs of people,
Yep, same.
and no, that was a great game, and the
Yep.
music in that, yeah, like the character customization screen music is burned into my memory
Yeah.
forever. Yeah,
I know
um,
it didn't like sell as well because people like hardcore like fighting game players. I think they just wanted the one-on-one fights more.
canon, yeah,
Not even
yeah,
canon, just like competitively. Like those are
sure,
easier to like, not easier, but less chaotic than having this insane amount of crazy juggled tag combo bullshit. Which like
yeah,
for us, we
yeah,
don't care because we don't play that seriously.
yeah,
And I just liked having all the characters. So yeah. So it's like Tekken 3, like Tekken 2 was obviously the thing that got us into it, but like
yeah,
Tekken 3 was like life changing.
hmm
Then Tag 2 for me, and then 7 later, like once we kind of
yeah,
got back into it after the fact, was getting better. But I don't think it ever hit a peak that Tag 2 hit for me. And then but like now with 8, this like to me is like this is my favorite Tekken game. I honestly
definitive,
think I like it better
yeah,
than any of them. Just for
um.
all the good stuff that it does.
And like, oh, there's just so many things. It's so polished, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and I love it's such a stupid little thing, but like I love the character select screen,
Yeah.
music. Like you pick them, they do like a little animation,
Yeah.
like it's super hyped up music. Like, I don't know. It's just like, yes, like this is fucking Tekken on steroids here. Like,
Yeah. It
yeah,
has such like it's the best way I could describe it. I was thinking about this today. It's like Tekken just knows exactly what it is, and it like
hmm
it does not, no pun intended, it doesn't pull any punches with that. It's like,
Yep.
no, this is
Yep.
what Tekken is. If you think it's stupid, too fucking bad, this is what we're doing, kind of thing. Or if you think
Yeah.
it's over the
Yeah.
top, well, it is, so you're
Yeah.
right, but we're doing it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just knows, it has such a strong like sense of like awareness, a self-awareness, and like identity, and it just
Yeah.
goes so hard on that, like unapologetically,
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
is what you should do. Just lean into what makes your game unique, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like here we'll talk about this stuff first, and we'll talk about the story after. So the thing, one of the reasons, and I don't know why this is such a Tekken thing, but it just, as long as we've played Tekken, you and I, this has just been the thing that makes Tekken so funny. Is like sometimes the way things just like line up perfectly for comedic genius.
Yeah.
You know, like I sent Matt a video of some funny Tekken moments, and there's one where it's like Victor and Law, and Law activates his rage art, so it's like goo, like that music, and he does thing, and Victor just like bang, and
Yeah.
just shoots him and kills him, and it's just like does the it's like I don't remember what he says during his rage art, but it's like oh, it gets ready to bang,
Yeah.
just scream.
Oh, again, it's just like the possibilities are endless with Tekken because there's so many funny animations and situations and just but when and so you can't a computer couldn't predict them, but like
Right.
sometimes they hit just right and you're like, fuck, that's funny.
There's one, I'll put the video here, but I was playing the other night with my friend, and I sent this to Matt too, and he was using Kuma, and when Kuma does, I think it's his heat move, he like golf swings you with a giant tuna, and then that
Yeah.
tuna will just be flopping around on the stage. And I've
Yeah.
seen it get right into the camera's face, like up close to the camera, like blocking the game. I've seen that happen on other streams and stuff. But for me, I was playing Reina, and I think when I did like her little like uppercut or something, because she kind of ducks down, and it just like she just scooped the fish up onto her head, and it was stuck there, like it was flopping around, it was moving like back and forth, but it was just on her head, and you could see us both because we were playing. It was a friend of mine I was playing with, me and my friend Yura, and we were just like, you could tell we both stopped fighting because you couldn't hear our mics in this video that I recorded, but we were absolutely losing it laughing because I was like moving back and forth, like backdashing, and like I can't get it off.
It looked like you had like a baseball cap with a gigantic brim on it, like and flopping around. Like, oh, it was so funny.
And then there was that moment, and I think I recorded this too, so I'll put, if I did, I'll put it here too. When me and you were playing, and you had Paul in some big trench coat, and we were
Yeah.
on the Coliseum stage, and it just has violent winds in that stage, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, your trench coat was just having trouble understanding the physics of this wind, and it just looked like Paul had a gigantic ass.
Yeah, it was just like out and like over.
It was just like this big like curved like yeah, it was weird.
Oh, it was so funny. And then like in all sorts of animations, it just made it really funny and like victory animations. Oh man.
I think one of the victory areas you were driving away on the bike, and it was just like this big like cone behind you.
Oh man, it was so good. The other and like the other thing that I was really happy with is that I knew this would happen, and I was very purposely trying to make it happen for you, hoping that you had never seen it before.
And I hadn't.
Law has this throw, and so it was one of his OG throws in 2. Like just by hitting square and X or triangle and circle, he like runs up the person and it kind of flips over and like just body slams them. Yeah. But ever since like I don't know, I feel like it was 3, but maybe it's like a subsequent one. But now
I remember him doing that animation in 3, like the little if you like miss, like where you
Oh,
just kind of
okay.
like kneeze a little bit.
Okay,
I'm
so
pretty sure that was in 3.
starting in 3, you actually have to do forward, triangle, and X. In order to do it. And if there's no one there, he kind of just does a little knee hop. But so I was like, I want to do this on Garrett because I don't think he's seen it yet. Because in 8, he does it. He runs up them, flips around, and then he goes, "I'm a dragon."
In his super American voice, not his
Yeah,
Bruce
yeah.
Lee voice, which I guess either one of those would sound insane, but yeah.
Oh, so I've been like trying, like I was like, we're 3 rounds in, and I was just like, I'm just trying to make this happen because I know it's gonna make Garrett laugh. And then I did it, and then Garrett was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah,
Oh
that
man,
got me. It caught me by
no,
surprise. Yeah.
I was pretty happy when you and Mike were both like shitting yourself laughing. But anyway, that was pretty funny.
There's another one that I actually ran into with Law yesterday, where I was playing Lily, and I think he just says this to her. They don't have a unique animation when they
Okay,
start, but he like he's doing his Bruce Lee noises and comes up and gets, and it's just like he kind of like shakes his head.
yeah,
And I think when he does it normally, he's just making the grunts or whatever. But
yeah,
when he's fighting Lily, he's like, "I hate rich people."
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't do it to just Lily.
Okay.
He does do a few people, but if you do his arcade battle, everyone you fight, he's just like,
He
I
does.
hate rich people. He does it to Lily, he does it to Victor, he does it to like it just is like, and I was like, oh, is it gonna be something different? I hate rich people. And I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because I was playing Lily and I was just playing online, and I think I ran into a law, and I think we went to like gate, like I won one, then he won one, and then like we went to a third one, and he just said it all 3 times, and so I was like, okay, I think this is targeted to me right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, that one got me. That one got me pretty good.
That made me laugh pretty hard. I I also I told you about this where with Azucena, I laugh because it's just like, oh, do you like coffee? It's just like,
Yeah,
oh,
just curious.
just curious, good question. Yep, it's essentially her entire identity. It's like, oh, is she an MMA fighter? I
I
guess.
guess.
I think I know she loves coffee though. But
That's true. That's an element of her personality they could have leaned into if they wanted. Like, no, we're doing the coffee thing.
no, we're doing the coffee thing. Like, oh, she's kind of like a Ronda Rousey type. Nope, she is full on coffee entrepreneur here. Just a little bit. Nope, 100%.
Every single like her heat move, her rage art, her victory pose, it will all reference coffee.
It's gonna slap you across the face with coffee.
She is going to join the evil army because she wants to further her coffee brand. That's how far we're going with it.
Okay, sure. But anyways, so like every intro for the arcade battle, she just like, oh,
Yeah, it's all the different things they drank or whatever.
I drink coffee. What do you drink? And Yoshimitsu is like, oh, green tea. And then Lily's like, oh, tea is the
Tea
only
is better than
refined.
coffee.
Yeah. And then King says something about like coffee after a wrestling match or something. And then you fight Dragunov, and it's just like, oh, I drink coffee. What do you drink? And he just very awkwardly like does his like point.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and then it's just like round 1. It's like, okay. I was like, oh, is there gonna be a vodka joke here? And it was just like, nope, just Dragunov, totally on brand, being a total weirdo. Yeah. Oh man.
And then like there's just some of the really funny things that like characters will say when they do certain moves that we're always laughing at. Ones I wrote down as like Victor, there's one combo he does where he's ooh la la. He says it a lot. And then the
Yeah.
other day, you had made a skin for Victor that really was a good portrayal of like Big Boss from Metal Gear, and it was
Yeah.
very weird seeing that character. Ooh la la.
Especially like because like he's pretty effing badass, right? Like he kind of he's got like the
Victor,
knives
you
and
mean?
yeah, Victor,
Yeah,
yeah, the knives and like the sword and
like the
so
John Wick kind of like
yeah,
gun stance. I know it has a name, but I just always think of John Wick.
and then like so he's like doing this like crazy combos with these knives and it's just like ooh la la. It's like okay, Victor, like dial it back.
Yeah.
But
That
anyway.
one's good. The Paul when he does, I think it's when you do like your heat smash. It's just I'll kick your ass every time. Like, all right,
I,
Paul, calm
I
down.
I still laugh at that. Yeah. Because like his
Hmm.
heat I guess what's it called? Like when you use your
There's the
heat
heat engager, and then I think it's called the heat smash. Might be
smash
what the to end like the special combo that ends heat mode.
uses it all up
Yeah,
kind of yeah. So his heat smash is really good as kind of a juggle
yeah,
ender. And so I used it a lot. And
yeah.
like, oh, kick your ass in like a very Paul way. Um, and oh, sorry, talking about like funny Tekken moments. A lot of my costumes um are like full body costumes or whatever with Paul. And so when he does his
Oh
rage art,
yeah.
he's supposed to like flex and his shirt rips and
His
with the
default
tech
costume does.
it does, and it for the remaining rounds, it's ripped,
Still on,
whatever.
yeah.
But with customization, it's like but I've got my big, trench coat duster on. It's just like stuff
And
flies
you
and it
yeah, you
sits the
see something like fabric, but I was like, oh, I think it was just a shirt underneath.
yeah. So
I think that's what you said.
our,
Yeah.
our joke is always just like it was just the shirt underneath the duster's fine. But no, I just love the sound bites that I've loved are yeah, I'm a dragon
Yeah.
by law.
Yeah, that's a good
I'll
one.
kick your ass. Um
And the ooh
ooh
la
la,
la.
ooh la la. Um
One good one that just happened when we were playing, and it's like not as funny on its own, but it's like that Law Victor thing where he just shoots him after the rage art.
yeah.
You were playing Raven, and you
Yeah.
when he does his rage art and he like does the symbols, it's like you had like a sliver of life left. It was like, it was like you'll never see this coming. Because I already had a move queued up, and
Yeah.
it's just knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I was like,
Like
well, I
I
think you didn't see that coming.
yeah, oh no, like stuff like that is like I find that so funny. Like you'll never
I
see this
know.
coming. Done. Um,
It's
I
that's just stuff in Tekken that it just because they're so over the top in their delivery of some of these things, and then also over the top in their death sounds or like the way their bodies crumple when they get hit. It's just like a perfect like boiling pot for like this comedy to happen when stuff like that.
yep.
Yeah.
I've done it's funny. So Paul has always been my number one character, but Horang is very is creeping up to replacing Paul in my roster.
Uh-huh.
But so I use Horang a lot as well, and I've done his rage art a number of times, but only like in the past week have I like looked at the subtitles during his rage art.
Yeah, I
And
don't even
so
know what he says.
he
I don't
like
remember.
so he like kicks you like he does like a 180-degree kick to launch you up, and then like does a bunch of kicks, and then does this like awesome kind of like
Like an axe kick kind of.
axe kick to hit you back to the ground. And he's just speaking Korean. But I saw this read the subtitle the other day, and he said like, "You're really pissing me off." So it's just like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I was like,
I didn't notice that
me neither. Yeah.
before. And then another one, we'll talk a little bit about her character more, but uh, we both, I think, have independently said without just agreeing with each other that like Reina's death scream when she loses is like the best one in the game. Like
Yeah.
her like scream she does when you like end when she loses a round or whatever, gets hit.
Yeah.
It's just such a good like death scream. So that one's even funnier when you get like a stupid last hit or like just kick their shins and just blah, blah. It's just like freaks out.
Yeah. She's the best death scream for sure.
Yeah.
And I was telling you like her character like encompasses a very like real Japanese personality. Like her I was telling Garrett like just living in Japan, like I know so many people who like have that exact identity, short hair, colored, like that same kind of
like the
clothing
two-tone
style.
color hair kind
Two-tone
of
color hair, yeah,
Yeah.
but like with a blue or a purple or
that specific color.
Yeah, like an electric color kind
Sure.
of thing. Anyway, just like I know so many people with that exact like style and kind of personality, like kind of like a little edgy and stuff like that. Like it's just like it's such a cool Japanese personality. So like too cool for school kind of thing. So I just think that she's just such a cool character.
Yeah. One of my favorite. I definitely put like for the new characters, like outside of my normal rotation of like Asuka, June, and like Lily and Jin I've been playing a lot more of. But like outside of the ones I'm like familiar with and going back to, she's definitely one of the ones I put the most time in. That's just a brand new character that I've never played, obviously, and learning her moveset. And just she's really fun.
I want to put more time in with her because I remember being like a little disappointed that Heihachi wasn't. I mean, maybe later, but
I mean, I was gonna say he's dead technically in the story, but it's Tekken and their story is insane, so he could find his way back.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember being like, okay, he's dead. He's not going to be in this, even as I thought June was dead at some point too.
That's what I mean. Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But anyway, because Heihachi was like one of my favorite like second tier characters. I liked using him, especially like the fighting style is kind of different than my normal go-to and kind of fun. But then when I see her move set, I'm like, okay, she's the Mishima style.
Yeah, she's got some Mishima stuff for sure.
Yeah. And especially like Heihachi style.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think she'd be really fun.
I really like playing her. And so yeah, with like my go-tos are obviously like Jun and Asuka, and I definitely spent enough time just like learning some of their subtle like differences from 7 to this game, and I think I got them like pretty dialed in at this point that they're still my two favorite characters, like far and above. So I really like playing with them. So yeah, the story mode, we'll talk this will definitely have spoiler talk for the story mode. So if anyone actually wants to play the story mode and hasn't done it yet, it is very good, and we're gonna spoil the 2 best chapters of it. So just be aware if anyone's listening and they're gonna be playing it themselves. But I think it was Maximilian dude that had referred to it this way, and it could not be more apt to call it this. Where he referenced the story mode as like it's literally Fast and the Furious, but with fighting instead of racing. In terms of its absurdity, over the top, but who cares because it's fucking fun to watch, kind of mentality. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting way to describe it. 60 seconds into the story mode, Jin drove a motorcycle up the side of a building and threw it at a chopper that Kazooie was in. And then they start fighting in the street. It's like, Yeah, I understand that reference now.
Uh, um, and and Garrett had texted me that, and because we have a lot of jokes just about Tekken quote unquote lore.
Mm.
And it's like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. That sounds right for Tekken lore.
Yeah.
But anyway, like okay, Fast and Furious, and like a bunch of friends and I like we have a constant meme whenever anyone brings up Fast and the Furious. It's always just like family.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That is the
and like,
meme.
yeah,
Yeah.
and nothing could be more appropriate for the Tekken is literally just about the Mishima family and how
Yeah.
fucked up everything is. So
Yeah, very
yeah,
apropos to make that comparison.
yeah,
Um and so like it's got its like silly like moments where they're just like, "Oh, I must fight you to understand you," or whatever. Like I think when Leo when he arrives and he's like, "Oh, Jane, I thought you were evil. Let us fight and figure out if you're really, if you're pure now," or whatever he says. It's just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah, like, yes, give me any excuse you want to just have me do another fight because this game is so much
yeah,
fun.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Uh,
I was really taken aback by this is just like I booted up the story mode just thinking it was gonna be like this stupid, dumb, fun like campaign, which it is.
yeah,
Um, but like I never think of it for like subtle. Definitely not subtle is not a word I would ever use with Tekken, but um, like the animation in the cutscenes, I wasn't expecting anything like insane levels of
yeah,
like being impressed by the subtleties in those moments.
yeah,
And there's a point when like Jin is in the like whatever jet thing,
mm,
whatever thing they're in. I forget what it's called with like Lee and
yeah,
Lars
yeah,
and them. And there's like a moment when like Elisa was looking at Jin and she was like worried about him or something. And it was just
yeah,
like the small movements in her face and animation. I was like, holy shit, this game looks good. Like in
yeah.
not just in motion during the fighting of the game, which is the main, draw, but like just in some of those
The
cutscenes in
cutscenes.
that story mode, I was like, I was like absolutely like in love with just the way Elisa's character. I mean, I love her redesign, but just
Yeah,
like the way her fate, like the way she was animated, and like there's like so much emotion in her face. And like you don't see that as much when and you not that you care for it when they're fighting, but it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I was just like, oh, this is gonna have some fucking great cutscenes. Like, and I wasn't
yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah,
I was expecting them to be just insane, but I
yeah,
wasn't expecting to get like emotional moments and stuff like that are very visibly well done. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there was a moment when that happened. I was like, oh, I'm like, settle in. This is gonna be
yeah,
good. This
yeah.
is gonna be better than I thought, in just in terms of like purely entertainment value. It's like basically watching like a 3.5 hour Tekken movie. Um,
Yeah, the cutscenes were really well done, and kind of for Tekken, it's like you'd expect, yeah, yeah, go through the story mode and you'll get a few cutscenes for that, but
yeah,
it was like, no, they put some time into this here,
yeah.
so
And
yeah, yeah,
some of those, well, a lot of them were like, like fully like pre-rendered CG cutscenes
yeah,
and like
yeah,
visually like pretty sick.
yeah, oh yeah,
And
especially like near the end when um Jin kind of like when it's like true devil Kazuya and like
like Angel Jin.
Angel Jin, and where I'm
Oh
just
my
like, what
god.
is fucking happening? I was like, because I
It's
expected
so
like
sick.
Kazuya to be devil mode at some point, but like yeah, anyway, you gave the spoiler warning, but like when he like absorbs Azazel or whatever, and
Yeah.
just like, whoa, like okay, like we're really like get like this guy's gonna destroy the whole freaking planet if we're not careful
Yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
get this guy in check.
Um and it just had so many funny like just like Tekken slash Fast and Furious type moments where uh like when they're all having that huge, like I call it like the Lord of the Rings battle, when they're like, and it's just like uh like I think Hwarang was there during that montage, but like just like in his gi, Like,
Yeah.
it's just like these people are shooting at you, right? Whatever, just wear your taekwondo uniform.
Do I like some armor or anything? Well, I'd be kicking people and stuff. I might as well wear my taekwondo, gi kind of thing.
Yeah.
What else would I wear? Yeah.
And then you just see King drop kicking some soldier in his wrestling outfit and cape. Like, yep, okay, whatever.
Yeah, just keep it going.
Just stuff like that, and even in that sequence, what was it? Like Steve dodging bullets.
I remember that from it
was in I think one of the trailers.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, I know this is stupid and I love it.
Yeah, it's like I was like, zero complaints. I love every moment of this.
And I think to your earlier point at that moment, it was just like, I was just, you're on the bad guys? Yeah, I'm gonna help my brand. And it's like, okay. Oh man. But I like that it kind of had Tekken Force mode vibes. So
that was definitely very obvious callback to that kind of mode. Which actually worked pretty good. It definitely worked better than actual Tekken Force mode did, because that was janky as all hell.
Yeah,
back in Tekken 3.
Trying to sidestep to get anywhere.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I do like. It was a little confusing though, because you really need to move around and do stuff and play, and they're all talking, and it's like I have no idea what's going on. You are all talking in different languages, and
that was the other point we've talked about just together, but I want to mention is that's another funny part of this story mode is they're all just talking in their own language, which also includes Panda or Kuma just making bear noises, or King just growling, and everyone knows what everyone is saying.
It's like it'll be like Jin watching an American broadcast, and then Leo comes up to say something to him in German, and he responds in Japanese, and everyone fine.
Knows what's happening.
And so
I love that.
These people are having these conversations, Victor in French and everyone in all their own languages, and I'm like, I can't read what's going on. I can't read the subtitles because
during all the action, yeah.
All the action, yeah, exactly. So it's like I have no idea what narrative was happening at that time.
It doesn't matter.
I understand. I still understood the story completely. Don't worry. Oh man.
So then Jin kind of goes through, and that was cool how you're fighting Devil Jin, and at one point it's Jin overcomes it, and it's it switches, and you control Devil Jin now or whatever. That was cool narrative, little way of introducing narrative into the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
And then he goes crazy angel mode, and they have a big fucking fight on a meteor or an asteroid in space, and a giant beam battle they're shooting. This is great. More of this, please.
More of it. You're I love all of this. And you're kind of getting the old Tekken 3 Jin moveset and stuff.
Okay. So once that space battle is over and they come back down, and their devil genes are gone, I guess. It's that 7-round fight you have to do against Kazuya, man. When the music kicks in, that is the music that plays on that stage, which was the music in the trailer. That was fucking cool. Just sit up straight on your couch, moment. And just the narrative way, and even when they would do those slow down big hits, they were doing moves they have, but just more flourish and slow motion and stuff. But then you said, Jin, he starts remembering what June was saying to him and stuff, and they're man, when he there's one point in between these rounds where he goes into June's stance, and that was a moment where I was like, oh fuck yeah, I just literally screamed at my TV. That was just such a cool way that like if you know that like so for me like June was like my favorite character in Tekken 2, and then when
Yeah,
she was not in 3, the reason I mean Jin just looked cool in general. He was the poster
yeah,
boy for that game, so you know I would have played him anyway probably, but knowing he was like June's son and he like
mm,
was like half Kazuya half June moves, that's like really why I played a lot of Jin, because like, well, June is gone and I don't have her moves anymore, and he had a
yeah,
lot more of them back then.
yeah,
So it's like if you know that sort of legacy of what Jin was before, like
yeah,
that was just like a cool way to like honor that, right? It, like
yeah,
pay
yeah.
homage to that, and I literally like scream something at my TV,
Yep.
because then it
Oh,
would like
so awesome.
it even showed like how her style is used to like pair or like parry or counter Kazuya's
Mm,
big punches. Like it would do big slowdowns, and it would even like auto counter certain moves sometimes for
yeah.
you.
Oh,
Um, and that whole back and forth. And then there's one point where Jin's theme just starts playing like straight from Tekken 3. And it's
yeah.
like I definitely yelled again when that happened. I was like, Jesus Christ. It was
Oh,
like
it was so much fun. It was like it's a game that I love, and it it is what it is, and it does not um apologize,
yeah.
for that. And it's just like it fan service.
Yeah, fan
Um,
server's big time in that last fight.
oh,
Especially if you are a legacy Tekken player. That
yeah,
if you've been at least in it since 3, this was like this story mode was like literally tailor made for you.
yeah.
If you are a Tekken 3 fan.
But no, just awesome. And like, oh man, there's so many times where just like Jesus Christ, like Kazuya, like relax, man. Like, holy crap, that guy's insane.
Yeah.
Just total insane. Um, but anyways, just awesome.
Yeah, I had such a freaking fun. I had way more fun with that story mode. I, I didn't say fun because I knew it was going to be fun because that trailer for it, it was like you could tell it was setting up for some wild moments. But
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like. I like I got emotional when he started using like June's moves again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Like
it
it was
literally
good.
like hit me like way harder than I thought this story mode would.
Yeah.
And then when Jin's theme from Tekken 3 started playing, like that was it for me. I was like, this is the best game ever made.
Yeah.
So, um, and yeah, just those all those like narrative moments between rounds, between them,
Yeah.
and then so I saw two things that I don't know which is true. So it like Kazuya is presumably dead. Like he
Hmm.
definitely seems to kill him
Yeah.
during that sequence. And then you definitely see a quick shot of June's feet walking up to him. Like that was
Yeah.
definitely June.
Yeah.
So I originally was like, oh yeah, June's back, like somehow, because the devil gene maybe was like cursed and her spirit was trapped or some
Yeah.
whatever bullshit. But then someone was like, no, I just think that means Kazuya's dead because now he's where she is or something.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know which of those. It could be that June is alive now because the devil gene is gone and that has something to do with it, or he's actually dead because now he's like in whatever resting place that that spirit realm or whatever that she was talking to Jin. She's obviously not alive during the story mode,
Yeah.
and it's like no, that just might mean he's where she is now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know
Mm.
which of those two things it is, but um, I'm sure none of it will make sense to me anyway when I
Yo,
find out.
uh, um, and then I think like yeah, post credits, Reina
Mhm.
being full on Devil
She just
Reina
got the
or
devil
whatever.
gene or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, and she looks so badass.
yeah.
So yeah,
And I
yeah,
hope that means she will be a returning character. I mean, we say that now, but it's like, man, we're gonna have Tekken 8 for like 7 years, so I don't
yeah,
have to worry about returning characters yet because we're gonna have this game for the better part of a decade anyway, probably. So,
yeah. No,
but at least she
just
seems like a mainstay in the story anyway.
yeah, yeah. But no, I love the story mode.
Yeah.
And like Jin is not one of my better characters. So I found myself having to do the
Special
whatever
style or whatever
the
it is.
special
Yeah.
style, just like, oh, I just need to get through this character. It's almost like I'm too proud to put the difficulty down.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll do the special style though. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's cool that you can turn that on and off. So if you're like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, well, let me like play a little bit. It's whatever. Like just struggling a little bit, just turn it on. I like that you can turn it on like on the
like
fly.
mid round. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, but no, loved it, and like I said, Paul still main character of mine, but I'm really learning a lot about Harang and really, really digging that character a lot. That's my favorite character to play right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my happy place. I got Asuka and June, so
Yeah,
everything else is just bonus for me.
yeah.
They're my all-time favorites. So, and they definitely changed June up, even from Tag 2. So like she definitely feels more. But she did feel she did have a lot more unique things compared to Asuka, even in Tag 2. But even more so now, 'cause she's got these crazy angel powers or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I really like the stuff they changed with her moveset. Between her and Asuka, I feel, to me, as a non super hardcore professional fighting game player, I feel, to my eyes, they feel like the best they've probably ever felt.
Yeah, nice.
So, and Jin, like I said, I've been putting more time with him, and I really am like understanding how he plays now, and I don't know how much he's changed from 7 because I didn't play him a ton in 7. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with Jin too. So it's just like, I'm so happy we had this month of Tekken before FF7.
Yeah.
Because I'm just able to like just sit there in the move list for an hour and like look for different strings that I kind of forgot they had, or new ways to use them with the heat system, and things like that. So, but yeah, we both had a fucking awesome time with that story mode, because if you are a legacy Tekken fan, like at least back to Tekken 3 even, like you gotta play the story mode. Don't write it off because it's a fighting game. That story mode, it's fucking silly as all hell.
But it is a good time.
It is, especially at like the last 2 chapters. God damn, that was I think we've used the term where it's just like, this is why I love video games, or something to that effect. And that's how I felt. Like, I don't need this to make any fucking sense. This was the most hype thing I've seen in like a long time. You know what I mean? It was just like pure video game, like bliss.
And immerse yourself in it, right? Like it's just like it's like work sucked today, and now I'm driving a motorcycle up a building and throwing it at a helicopter. So you know what, like, yep, that's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. And kind of like, I feel like the last thing I'll say about Tekken is like, I was telling you, it's just insane the amount of like AI driven kind of training you can do in this game now. Like, pick a specific, like if I was just like, God damn it, Garrett always gets me with this character and this move. And you know what? I have a recorded match from 2 days ago, and I can just practice the punishment against this whatever move.
And the game will tell you how to punish it. It's like you watch the replay and you like turn like punish hints on, or whatever it's called, and when it notices there's one that you could have done and you didn't do, or did nothing, it'll pause and be like, oh, after this move you should try this move, and then you can hit a button and it'll queue up the move for you to block it and then do the punish that it is telling you to do. And we like, I have to try it. I've downloaded your Ghost for a couple of characters, but I haven't actually played them yet. I want to see like
how, if it feels how accurate it is.
I did have someone play against my Asuka Ghost during the beta, and I watched them play it because they were streaming, and it was Miss Cupcakes, actually, the one.
Nice.
She tried it, and I was watching. I was like, yeah, that looks how I play this character. Like, it seems to do a pretty good job at like learning the way you play, kind of thing. So It's
Like
crazy
it's
how that all
just
works.
so crazy, and there's just so much. It's very well done, very
Yeah.
very well done. Like if you know, if I wanted to put in the time, like if one wanted to put in the time, they
Yeah.
could become a very good professional Tekken player just by putting in the work because it's just all there,
It
right? Like,
yeah, it,
yeah,
it definitely like lowers that barrier between like casual and professional. Like the
yeah,
professionals will always just do a million more, uh times more very specific research and things like that. But it's
yeah,
like it can help you bridge that gap from just being a casual enjoyer to like, let me actually like learn the very technical aspects of how to play this character better.
yeah,
And without having to watch 10 hours of YouTube tutorials or
yeah,
whatever. It's like you could, I feel like you could get a lot better using these tools, which is why how they were designed. Like that's why they're in there, is to help people that are more intimidated to like just
yeah,
learn slowly how to just get better at the game or whatever.
yeah,
Or even just with a character or even against a specific character.
yeah,
It's crazy how much, like, I honestly feel like the game was probably like mostly done like a year ago, and then like
yeah,
8 months was spent like refining that system. You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
must have been so long to just like, even just a UI design standpoint, to make it easy for someone to understand how to use it
Yep. No, man.
accurately, right?
Uh,
Like it's crazy.
the UI being a non-trivial part of that whole process for
Yeah.
sure. But it's kind of like, um, for a bit of a full circle comment here, but like, what Tekken 8 is doing for fighting games kind of reminds me of what Breath of the Wild did for open
Sure.
world. Like just kind of like, oh, this is what the minimum standard should be,
Yeah.
for this kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
raise the bar. But
Yep.
yeah.
And it's like
Um,
not over monetized or anything at this point. I'm sure there'll be some stuff they add.
sure.
Um, but it's like you get a lot of customization options right out of the gate. The
Yeah.
money, the in-game currency you get in boatloads, so you're never
Yeah.
like wanting for, just do one arcade run and you have like 5 million, Tekken gold or whatever it
Eh,
is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're never wanting for, you don't have to grind to get that, and God, the game is just so. I can't believe they put all the soundtracks in it. That blew me away.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
an option. Like that's insane. That's like, I mean, how long is when it was Tekken? Like the first one was it like 91 or something. So it's like 3 decades of music.
Yeah.
Just yeah, make whatever playlist you want, and you can even play like, I want to just play Tekken 3 soundtrack, and it'll auto assign tracks to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's how it worked anyway when I tried it. But it's like, yeah, I just want to play Tekken 2 and just put that soundtrack on for everything. Um,
I'll I think tomorrow I'm gonna definitely dive into the soundtrack aspect a bit more. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's easy to
Um,
lose a lot of time in there because so many good tracks.
it's so many good tracks.
We were talking about a few, like uh Matt and I were just texting back and forth like, Kazuya Tekken 2, that's a nostalgia trip. And like
Yeah,
the Jin is obvious. But like, I don't know if you've listened to Yoshimitsu Tekken 3.
yeah,
But that one was like, I like 1 millisecond into that song, I remember every single beat of this
yeah.
track.
Or
Um
King
Okay,
Tekken 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
that like guitar riff in the, that one is so good.
Oh man.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah, so many
so
tracks that just, yeah.
very random story. I don't know if you remember this, just for on nostalgia. This was like grade, I don't know, grade 6 or grade 7 for me, something like that. The class was going to Crystal Palace, which is anyway,
Like an
amusement park.
amusement park here, yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, okay, who it's like, what part of the class wants like a bracelet to go on the rides, and what part of the class wants like
Tokens.
tickets tickets to mini golf.
Oh yeah.
and tokens or whatever. And so I remember I was the only one who was like, I don't care about the rides. I don't care about the mini golf. I'm taking all my allowance in tokens. And all I did was play Tekken 3. So that must have been 97, so like grade 7
Sure.
for me, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like $20 worth of tokens, hanging out, just playing Tekken 3 that entire afternoon, and like loved every minute of it.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
forgot we didn't have a lot of arcades where we live, so uh, that was like the main one, and I just forgot that they had Tekken there as an
yeah,
arcade.
yeah.
Um, God.
Kind of
Anyway,
before, because we had Tekken 2 on PlayStation, and
yeah,
Tekken 3 was not out yet.
right. Yeah, it was in
Yeah,
arcades for a
yeah,
good chunk of time before it came to console. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, I just love Tekken, and yeah,
And
just the eight.
eight is just such a celebration of it, right? And
Yeah,
both in the story mode and like having all the music available to you, like yeah,
yep,
they love their brand and they know what they're about. And I will not be in any way surprised that this is like the best selling Tekken game of all time. I
yeah,
really think they just hit it out of the park. I think that there's enough for the casual player to like, you know, kind of pique their interest, especially like this is the first time a Tekken game has come out when like social media is at its like, critical mass that it's at now. Tekken
yeah,
7 was 7 years ago or whatever it was, and
yeah.
Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff existed, but there just weren't as many like video uploads of funny Tekken moments or things like that. Like that just
Costumes or
wasn't
yeah,
wasn't in the mix as much. So there's so much more of that now. So I know people will pick it up out of morbid curiosity and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, love it. So glad we have a month of Tekken before FF7, so we can really dive in. And yeah, we're even after in a post FF7 rebirth world. Like I said, we're gonna have Tekken 8 for probably 6 to 8 years of updates and stuff. So it's like, yeah, we have. It is not going away by any stretch, especially because
no,
of truly one of the reasons why I didn't play as much Tekken 7 is I know this is so fucking first world problem, but it's like
yeah.
I know it's gonna take me like 3 minutes before I'm actually playing the game because it takes
Eh,
so long to load and all this stuff. And
yeah,
it's like I could be playing Tekken 8 when I hit stop recording on when we're done. I could be actively playing a match of Tekken in like 45 seconds.
yeah,
And it's just, and knowing in between, like the loading is so much faster and all this stuff. It's just like such an easier game to just jump on for half an hour, 45 minutes, play a bit, and then shut it off or whatever.
yeah.
So, uh,
It's perfect in so many different ways. So and like you said, um, it's I remember like to an outside observer, you might be like, you go through the story mode and you're like, I paid $100 for this. Like
right.
I got platinum in 20 hours kind of thing. And it's like,
Right.
no, the thing about Tekken, is that like I'll play this off and on for the next decade,
Right.
and love it. So
Yeah.
it's just like this is kind of like an investment,
Yeah.
in a certain way.
Yeah.
So like, and I know that like anytime I boot it up, play with you and Mike, or like when I go home,
During the
after dinner,
holidays or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like so, just like 6 hours of Tekken. Like, yeah, like okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it's not the okay, Breath of the Wild, 150 hours in 2 months. This is more like 1,000 hours over the next 10 years,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
We will absolutely get our money's worth for sure. Tekken is a game that we can always fire up, even if we haven't played it in 6 months. Like,
oh
hey,
yeah,
want to play some Tekken? Yeah, and like it, and something
hilarious.
insane or
Yeah.
hilarious will happen, guaranteed.
Like,
Every time we play, yeah.
that's also part of it as well that I feel like is understated, is like there's always some moment of like, gut crunching hilarity. It'll be like, look, we played for 2 hours and like, oh, okay, some back and forth, some whatever, some, punishing deaths. And then at some point it'll be like, what the fuck? And
And
then
it'll
like,
be, you'll never see this coming.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There's so many moments where it's just like, oh man, like that was a good time.
Yeah.
And like, I will say, that like whenever we play, I always have like the best time ever. Like
Yeah.
even if I'm getting my ass handed to me
Yeah.
by Asuka doing the same goddamn thing you've been doing to me for 20 years, um, I really don't um n associate negatively with any
No.
losses playing with you. Like
Yeah.
when I'll play online, I'll get kind of frustrated and
Yeah, I have to
angry.
take breaks, and I have a 3 loss rule where if I lose 3 games with a character, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
Either switch characters or just play offline for a bit.
But playing with you, it's like even when I'm losing, I'm having the best time ever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's much lower stakes at that point because we're just I don't get angry either. It's just a different I don't know, different vibe, I guess, when we're just because we're just enjoying it. And the
yeah.
nostalgia factor because we've just been doing this since we were like 10 years old, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, I appreciate you getting the story mode done so we could talk about that. Because yeah, that was a hell of fun. We'll probably do some more Tekken talk at some point in the future. Because
Over the next 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We will be playing it and stuff will come up for sure. And yeah, so we're gonna do a FF7 sort of pre-release hype episode probably next weekend. We'll chat a little bit because I guess this will preview the next episode. We both lied and we both played the demo. We weren't going to, but both of us had really difficult weeks last week work wise, and I was sick all week on top of that, so I was like, what would bring me joy right now, and probably the only thing right that would bring me any kind of joy is if I play that goddamn demo right now and just kind of forget what just happened to me in the last 7 days or whatever. And so
Yeah.
I did it, and I told Matt that I did it so that, hey, if you want to play it, we could talk about it on the podcast. So you did as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that demo experience was like, and then we have a fun little sort of prediction sort of game that we'll do to get ready for FF7. I will try not to platinum that one before you get it.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be physically possible because the game's going to be massive. But yeah, we'll do some FF7 talk next week. So after this goes live, we'll probably have another episode up within a week or so because I want to get it out before FF7 comes out. So
yeah. I'd say there's a non-zero chance that you beat it before I get it.
For this one, if it was remake part 1, I would probably agree with you because I did beat that one very fast. But I just feel like this game is going to take a lot longer to hit credits because of how massive the environments are, but also how long the game it's on 2 fucking Blu-ray discs. I don't think I'm beating it in
true.
In 3 days.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
But it'd be hilarious if I'm wrong. And like I mentioned it just because like it comes out on the 29th, which is a Thursday. I doubt mine will get delivered Friday. It'll probably get delivered Monday. So there's just like 4 days. So I guess
yeah, it could happen.
You'll be well into it, but like I'll wake up Monday morning and
I'll probably be 40 hours in.
Yeah, and like, oh sweet, maybe I'll boot this up. But like anyway, I'm just getting back from a conference. Like anyway, I'm not gonna be running at full steam.
Right.
So you if anyone wants to take bets on who will beat it first, that's an easy bet. But anyways, yeah, you'll be well into it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I booked time off for it, so I'm going hard. So,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, we'll talk about that on the next one. I'm probably gonna go play some Tekken because we've been talking about it. So
Yeah,
I
I'll
really am
probably.
enjoying that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Um,
thanks for your thoughts on Breath of the Wild as well. I really wanted to catch up on that because I looked during our break, by the way, and you're at 150.
oh God.
I had to see what you were up to.
Oh man, it does not feel like. I mean,
No,
it does, but it doesn't, right?
yeah,
But yeah,
not it was not. It's not a tired 150.
yeah,
Definitely enjoyable. So I've been there.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's like me hours.
I
Yeah,
know, I
that's like what
know.
I do.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, as we said, in 2024, we're gonna convert me over. So yeah, yeah. Um,
Perfect.
cool.
All right, yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, like I said, Tekken will come up again. We'll be playing for a while, and we'll do an FF7 episode next. And man, that game is less than 2 weeks away. That's insane. Um,
Can't wait.
yep. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like us and subscribe here. Follow us on all the socials. I really want. There's a number of interviews that I really want to try to get this year. So anything to help us grow can just give me more negotiating power when I ask these people that are way bigger than us, their channels that are way bigger than ours, and to get them to come and chat with me. So yeah, show some support. And we'll probably see you in a week because we're going to be talking about FF7 very soon. And I'll be getting that episode up before the 29th at least. So
Awesome.
we'll continue there.
And if anyone wants to play some Tekken, guys, send us a link.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Perfect.
I'll put those videos that we were talking about in a couple of those moments because they were really funny. So I'll throw those in here too.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And thanks, Matt, and thanks everyone again for listening. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Cool. All right. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.